All right. Some words from our sponsors there. Shout out to Subaru, Calgon, Wendy's. We got some big time sponsors. Toyota, Martin, and Taco Bell used to be wild. Wasn't they wild? Some run for the border. Remember that shit? That shit was crazy. Run for the border? What were they thinking? How you guys doing? Welcome. T-Street Controversy with FightView360. We got some topics to talk about. We're only going to be here for an hour. I don't like when these shows are all extra long. And plus, I'm still jaded with boxing. What's going on? I'm pretty successful in boxing. And if I really apply myself like I used to back in the day, like I can really be doing big things, but it's just something, I'm still jaded. I know I've been bitching and complaining about the sport for a while now, but it's just something where, especially with this shit that's going on with Tyson Fury, it's got me really untethered again. So let's talk about the topics we have here. Welcome to the show, FightView360, March the 14th, 2023. If you're listening to this in audio format, I'm always going to cover boxing. I'm going to be fucking 60 years old and shit. I'm always going to cover boxing. But in what capacity? I have to figure it out soon, I have to figure it out soon. However, I have been working on the website, getting it back active. For example, let me show you guys. We've been getting it back active. As you can see, we have everything boxing related on there. Slowly but surely pumping out more original content. Shout out to Mikey, our rankings are updated monthly. All of my videos are here. Our rankings are updated monthly in accordance to the sanctioning bodies. My podcast, the FightView360 Boxing Podcast, here I'll show you. It's available everywhere on all of your listening platforms. As you can see, it's right here on Apple. The website. We're on Spotify. We're on iHeartRadio, and this shit wasn't easy, man, to get this really, really like out there. As you can see, we're on Apple. FightView360. Player FM, whatever the hell that is, but I'm glad to be there. We're on Spotify. We have our thumbnails, unique. iHeart. We're on Blog Talk. We're on everything, but I'm not happy with the sport of boxing. I'm not. I guess I can say it like this. I work for my father, but you can say I'm kind of retired. I wake up, start my days between 5 and 7 a.m., walk my dog. I do have lots of paperwork I have to do all the time, though. Come down, I'll start reading articles, watching boxing content I'll have on the TV. I'll have something boxing related, like, for example, Fight Hype was at the David Benavidez workout. I was listening to about an hour or so of that. I'm going to listen to the rest of it. After the stream, I'm going to go cook. Basically, I come down in the morning, I'll watch a movie, a show, I'll do my little routine. I'll take my 1-a-day vitamin. Take my detox. I'm still doing a detox. I'll have a nice, large cup of tea. Eat a banana. I drink always a 16-ounce bottle of water every single morning. I put a little bit of lemon juice in it. And I'll be thinking to myself, I'll see somebody like Tyson Fury, who I used to really, really, and I've been covering Tyson Fury for a decade now, bro. When I used to have to watch those janky-ass Box Nation streams, the streams today, you guys are lucky. The streams that you guys have access to compared to what us hardcore degenerates had to do back in 2010, 2009, 2011, you had to really want it. And dare you not have virus protection on your computer or your laptop. You're going to cook it. You're going to cook your laptop. Back in the day, like I used to be watching those streams, just frying the shit out my little bullshit $300 laptop. Nowadays, these streams are nice and crisp, HD. You may have a pop-up here and there, and then you're always on guard thinking some shit gonna pop up again, but then it don't. It's getting, these streams are getting too good. But then when I think about how all the dumb shit that's in boxing, it just be like, sometimes you just look at some of these fights and you look at some of these people that be running the biz and you be looking at some of their decisions and looking at some of their interviews. Every promoter, manager, boxer at one point in time has put their foot in their mouth. You see what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, you get yourself hyped for Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk. But listen, I'm not hyped. You know why? Because I never thought I would say I don't trust Tyson Fury. And I want him stringently drug tested for cocaine. Damn it. He's too erratic. He can't be trusted. And I'm the type of guy, excuse my language, it's 8 p.m., 8:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how much heat I have taken over the years, Jack? When I turn down pussy, okay? Chicks thinking I'm a fucking loser. Like, he always watching boxing. I tried to give him some ass, and he want to be in there watching boxing. I think that nigga gay. Like, like, bro, like, you know what I be going through? Like, oh, when I leave the homies, I be like, listen, man, like, this fight about to come on. And they be like, oh, yeah, we gonna come over. I be like, nah, I make up some bullshit. I be like, nah, you know what? We can't, because I don't like fight parties. I don't like people, I don't like watching fights with people. I don't do it. So it'd be like, yeah, man, we gonna come over with you. We gonna watch the fight and then go out. I'd be like, nah, I got to take these tapes back to Blockbuster. I make up some completely outlandish ass lie. I be like, I got fucking Terminator 2 and my Seagal tapes. I got to rewind them joints. And then I got to make sure, because, you know, if you take them back after 9, they charge you. So, and then, you know, the car start at 9, but then I got to pick up my girl. You know what I'm saying? You know? So I went through some, man, listen. And then I went through a whole fucking depressive stage back in 2013, 2014, 15, 16. I'm in the hospital, in and out of the hospital, which eventually led to a coma, if you can see my breathing tube. In and out of the hospital. Still going to fights. Flying to Vegas. I spent like $4,500 in like 2 days. Flying out to Vegas just to be kicked out of a press conference. Now, I didn't even make it to the press conference. I got kicked out of the MGM Grand. Mind you, it's sometimes, man, boxing, it be doing me wrong. So where do we start? Let me stop. Let's stay on topic. Let's find what were we talking about here? Let me tell you, like, for real, I didn't turn down, man. I question my sanity. Sometimes I be a masochist. And you know what I'll do? Let's say if it's something like, name a recent bullshit fight that was on in the daytime, but then a real good ass fight was on in the night. I'm the type of low down boxing degenerate that I'll cover the bullshit fight and watch the bullshit fight and actually enjoy it. And then the good fight that'll generate money, I'll go to sleep on that joint. I'll be like, nah, I'll cover that tomorrow. I never cover it. Like, boxing be doing something to me. So here's the topics. Saul Canelo Alvarez, John Ryder had a press conference earlier today. It was long and it was, you know what it was? It was egregious. You had, I don't know who these people were. Let's go take a glimpse. Let's go take a gander. I don't know who these people was. And you know me, I identify as full-blooded Chicano. I'm Mexican now, so. And you can't say nothing about it, or I can get you canceled. Fuck around if you want to. Let's go check out the some clips. I'm not going to bore you. I sat through that god-awful. Listen, it was awful. But I'm going to bring up some clips from the Canelo versus John Ryder press conference. It was officially announced for May the 6th in Guadalajara, Mexico. I think Americans, it's not real good for us to travel down there right now. You know, I was talking about it earlier. Like when Mexicans want to get you like back, you know, listen, they want to get you back. They do like some crazy shit to you. They'll chainsaw you. Like they'll hang you from a bridge. They'll cut your penis off. Bam. Stuff that shit in your mouth and just hang you from a bridge. Like they'll put you in a barrel, put like all this flammable liquid in there, cook you alive. What else they do? The straight, of course, executions. That's the easiest. But man, listen, I don't want no problems with them. Like I was getting fucking threats back in like 2012 or something. I used to go hard. I used to be a big internet troll. But I used to go hard on Marquez. And boy, did they not like that. One man with Marquez. Like they would send me like videos from Live Leak. Remember that? They send me a video from Live Leak and be like, it just be just cryptic as fuck. It's like, why would you send me that? And it'd be somebody getting tortured. And it's like, yo, bro, like it's only boxing. Y'all need to chill. And plus, I'm Mexican now. Yeah, I identify as a half black, half full-blooded Chicano and Irish. I'm Irish. It's in my blood. I checked my ancestry.com. What are you talking about? But yeah, it was the press conference, and it was just people talking and just running their mouth. I had no clue. Well, that's Mauricio Suleiman, president of WBC, but there was some people running their mouth. And it took like 34 minutes for them to get to, by the way, Eddie's hairpiece is looking real good these days.
Detente. Vamos a hacerla en Guadalajara. Este es el
It got so bad after a while, the translator, because majority of the press conference was in Spanish. The translator, after a while, she just got sick of it. She wasn't translating nothing. Like, I don't know what was going on. And you would think that this guy, he just was going. Who's this guy? I know he's important. I don't want to get in trouble. But he just was this yap.
Un estadio reconocido no solamente a nivel nacional, sino a nivel internacional. Felicidades y muchísimas gracias.
I mean, I would translate for y'all, but I just, we'll fast forward. But here's what Canelo had to say. And look, as you can see, look, you're seeing these people and you're seeing these long gaps in time. And it's like, what is going on? Well, here's what John Ryder had to say. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe, and TstreeT Controversy with FightView360.
Sin duda alguna la que tiene John Ryder de Inglaterra. John, welcome to Mexico.
Thank you to the people of Mexico for the warm welcome I've received so far. I'm sure as the fight gets nearer, it won't be as warm and a little bit more hostile, I hope.
Muchísimas gracias a todos por este recibimiento tan cálido que hemos tenido desde que llegamos aquí, a toda la gente que nos ha recibido con los brazos abiertos. Esperemos que el día de la pelea continúe así, que no haya ningún momento de hostilidad, sino que la calidez se mantenga.
I'd like to thank Sal, Eddie and the team Canelo for making this fight and giving me this opportunity, as well as Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and Charlie and Tony Sims for sticking by me in the dark days and believing in what can be.
También quiero agradecer a Saúl. Saúl, muchas gracias por darnos esta oportunidad. Esto es básicamente en donde tenemos enfocado nuestra mente. También quiero agradecer a Eddie Hearn y a todas las personas que pueden permitirnos que hoy estemos aquí.
I feel like in my career I've had ups and downs, highs and lows, and I believe this fight could have happened a few years ago if I'd been judged fairly in my fight with Callum Smith, but in this sport, timing is everything.
También en el comentario anterior que hice, olvidé interpretar que se agradece de corazón a todas las personas que han creído en mí. Ahora, hablando de mi carrera, en mi carrera profesional he tenido altas y bajas, esto ha sido parte del camino que he recorrido, pero al final de cuentas lo que queremos hacer después de varios años es ver dónde nos encontramos después de todo este arduo caminar.
I have the utmost respect for Sal and his team, and he's been a great champion, a great ambassador for the sport, and really paved the way for others coming through.
Quiero nuevamente extender mi agradecimiento y el nivel de respeto que tengo hacia Saul Canelo Álvarez. Es un campeón y es un verdadero embajador del deporte, y lo que su gente representa para él es lo que a mí me invita a respetarlo más.
I don't need to get into a spat where we keep talking. The respect remains. I believe he's a great fighter, but May 6th, I'm here to do the job and come away victorious.
Solamente tenemos dos caras, tenemos la cara de la del respeto,
I'm gonna fast
tenemos
forward
la
to
cara
Canelo part.
de cuando ya nos enfrentamos. Yo quiero que se mantenga esta posibilidad de continuar con esta señal de respeto previo y durante la pelea.
It'll be great to fight here in Guadalajara, in the home of the Chivas, and I hope we have a sold-out packed event on Cinco de Mayo weekend, and thank you all.
Va a ser maravilloso.
Let's go listen to Canelo, and then we'll talk about the fight. What do you guys think about the fight? I mean, I understand it. It's Canelo's homecoming fight. I get it. Makes sense. Somewhat of a safe fight. You know, he is coming off of an injury, actually 2 injuries. He was originally not even planning on fighting in May. He planned on fighting in September, taking May off to, let his body rest. But the opportunity is here. Now, the big question is, who's he going to face in September? And he plans on fighting again in December as well. So I'm thinking Bivol or David Benavidez, because I think David Benavidez is going to beat Caleb Plant. I want Benavidez. I mean, yeah, the Bivol fight is there, but we already seen Bivol beat him, and I think Bivol can beat him again. I want to see Benavidez because that's a different type of fighter. He's going to straight walk you down, and I think he's going to bulldoze. I think David Benavidez is going to bulldoze Caleb Plant. Just my personal opinion, but only time will tell. Let's go listen to Canelo.
Ay. Quisiera decir tantas cosas, pero son muchísimas. Primero que nada, quiero agradecerles a todos, agradecerle a Chepo, agradecerle a Eddie, porque han sido muchísimos años en el boxeo y me han enseñado mucho y han caminado conmigo en derrotas, pero más en grandes victorias que hemos tenido. Muchas gracias a los dos. De corazón, gracias a mi familia también, muchísimas gracias. Mi abuela que está ahí, abuelita hermosa, gracias por siempre apoyarme, sus bendiciones. Gracias a todos, muy contento de estar aquí, de regresar a mi tierra después de 12 años, después de haber logrado tanto en el boxeo. Muy agradecido con Alfaro por las facilidades que me dio para poder estar aquí peleando, al estadio también, a todos los que hicieron posible esto. Eddie Hearns también, gracias por confiar en mí. Y sí, tenía muchas ofertas para pelear en muchos lados, pero nunca me la pensé. Siempre quise venir aquí, volver a mi tierra, volver como el mejor del mundo, y estoy muy orgulloso de hacerlo. No tiene nada que agradecer. Para mí es un orgullo estar aquí, y lo que se hace de corazón no hay por qué agradecerlo. Lo hago de mucho corazón, estoy con mucho entusiasmo de estar aquí, de estar con mi gente, de poderle brindar a la gente, de poder tener la oportunidad de que la gente tenga la oportunidad de verme pelear, de tener este evento. Para mí es un orgullo, es lo primero que le dije a Alfaro cuando estábamos hablando de la posibilidad de pelear aquí, que lo primero que quiero es que la gente que no puede comprar un boleto, la gente que no puede ir a Las Vegas, tenga la oportunidad de verme aquí en Guadalajara. Y también poderle donar a alguna fundación de aquí de Guadalajara una parte de este evento sería muy importante, y lo vamos a hacer si Dios quiere. La verdad que muy agradecido con mi familia, cada uno de ustedes, mis hermanos, mi mamá, mis papás, mi esposa, mis hijos, muchísimas a mi familia adoptiva también. Gracias a todos. Y pues como peleador, la verdad que listo, vengo de una cirugía y la verdad que me siento muy contento, muy entusiasmado porque he estado entrenando, he estado haciendo sparring y me siento muy bien. Me siento más motivado que nunca y cuidado con eso. Cuidado con eso porque, como dice Eddie, cuando el güero anda motivado está cabrón. Entonces, cuidado. Y la verdad que me siento contento, agradecido con John Ryder. Thank you for coming, my friend. Welcome. Y gracias. Nos vemos el 6 de mayo. La verdad que muy contento de pelear aquí en Jalisco. En estos 200 años libres y soberanos. Me siento muy contento, agradecido con todos, con cada uno de ustedes. Agradecido, Pablo, Rangel, gracias. Mauricio, gracias a todos. Y nos vemos el 6 de mayo. Gracias a todos ustedes también. Muchas gracias.
Aquí estaremos por supuesto el 6 de mayo, así que vayan preparándose.
We're not going to listen to
La agenda dice
hold on, I got a cough
Canelo
drop.
Fight el 6 de
Damn.
mayo, así que los esperamos por supuesto. Y desde luego inicié agradeciendo a los diferentes medios de comunicación, son tantos que hemos también dado la oportunidad a una sesión de preguntas y respuestas a quienes ustedes se quieran, las inquietudes que ustedes tengan, si me dan su nombre, su medio de comunicación.
Tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern, they're going to have the San Diego press conference. So I can imagine it's going to be, in English, where majority of this press conference today was in Spanish. And Eddie Hearn and John Ryder and his team just was looking lost. Here, we'll go watch the face-off before we move on. But, put it this way. I'm not going to shit on the fight because I know the business, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to say it's a fight that, people care about. However, you must factor in John Ryder has a nice little solid resume. He's one of those like late bloomers. I covered him all those years ago when he fought Billy Joe Saunders. And I believe I covered the Nick Blackwell fight too. Let's go full screen. John Ryder is listed at 5'9". Canelo's about 5'7", but he's listed at 5'9". But everybody pretty much knows that Canelo's about 5'7". John Ryder is a career 160 pounder for the most part. Career 168 pounder, correction. He's on a 4-fight winning streak. Last fight he lost was against Caleb Smith. A lot of people, including myself, thought he won that. But his last clear loss was a split decision to Rocky Fielding back in 2017. Here, let's go look at the resumes. Here's Rocky Fielding, Zach Parker, Danny Jacobs, Jerko, Mike Guy. Yeah, I remember that fight. I covered that joint. Conor Smith, Belil Akaway. I'm not even going to call him Andre. Andre, how about that? I'm not going to butcher his last name. Jamie Cox, Patrick Nielsen, Rocky Fielding. He fought Nick Blackwell back in 2015. Nick Blackwell, I remember, if I'm correct, that Nick Blackwell got a brain injury from fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Yeah, I remember that. And then he tried to fight again. That was dumb, but he's supposed to be cool now, though, so I can say that was dumb. Canelo undisputed champion. Which mandatory is Ryder again? Let me check. I know he was a long-time WBA mandatory, but is this the WBO? That's no, it's not the WBO. It is. It is the WBO. He's the interim WBO champion, John Ryder. And as you can see, if David Benavidez wins, he'll be Canelo's mandatory for the WBC. David Morrell is that WBA mandatory, but expect for him to hold on to that. Yeah, I'm not fully counting John Ryder out. You know, he's a pressure fighter. He should be food for Canelo. But Canelo, he's getting older. Canelo is getting older. So what else is on the list here? Tyson Fury. Starting to really, really piss me off. Let's go listen to this interview from parts of his interview from the manager of Oleksandr Usyk. I don't have any faith that Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk is going to happen on April the 29th. June is looking more likely to me, especially since the matchmaker for top-ranked Bruce Trampler tweeted something about June. And if anything, I don't know if that was a mistake. In fact, let's go check and see if he took it down. But yeah, you know, and it's not looking like the fights, it may be agreed to, but it's not done. Right now, Tyson Fury is looking like the Dawson. Like, for real, for real. Here's this interview he had. Let's listen to it, because this is my first time listening to it in full. This is the promoter. Basically, you can say he's the handler. He's the promoter, though, but the handler of Oleksandr Usyk. And here's what he had to say earlier. I didn't listen to all this.
So we see both fighters exchanging messages, and that is actually the point. We are expecting to get some basic agreement with the terms and things like that, but it's still pending.
So I think the big headline yesterday were some issues regarding a rematch clause. Are those issues now ironed out?
Well, they were under discussion, but they are not resolved yet. We expect Tyson Fury to go live again and offer something like maybe 2 or 3 rematches, because he likes to have 3 matches with one fighter.
I think the big concern with so many people at home is this is a massive fight. We know how big this fight is, and time is ticking. Is 6 weeks enough to get this all done?
Andy, it all depends on the objective that the fighter puts in front of him. If it's about money, then it's definitely enough. If it's about the victory, I don't think so.
From your side, what is still to do? I know that's an interesting question because it's business, but a lot of this negotiation is happening in plain sight. So from your side, what's happening and where are you at with these negotiations? Is everything on your side agreed?
Yeah, it's very simple. We've been negotiating for so many months. We went through all the small issues, bigger issues, large issues, whatever. So it's all done already. It's been done actually several weeks ago. But the one thing that was pending was Tyson's consent, which is still pending. Though he claims he's ready and he pretends training like theatrical performances with Parker, doing some exercises, doesn't look convincing, but it's still the case.
If I was to push you on how confident you are that this fight happens, and you gave me a percentage that this fight happens in April, how confident are you? 50%? More than 50%? I mean, we're doing percentages now, aren't we? You might as well give us one.
Okay, so I'm not really confident that this fight gonna happen on April 29th. I will be surprised if it takes place. But if it takes place, I will be really happy, because this is the biggest thing Usyk wants, the baddest thing he wants in his life, to unify the belts in the heavyweight division, the second division in his career.
So if it doesn't happen, I mean, I'm picking up on what you're saying there. If you're not confident that it happens in April, are you confident it happens in June, which was the other date that was mentioned, or do you move on to different targets now, Hrgovic or Dubois or any other name?
We never mentioned anything like June or August. It's never been under discussion. So Usyk was very clear in his message April 29th, I accept 70-30. So all the conditions that were accepted by Usyk are due only for April 29th. And Igor Klimas yesterday came out in Twitter saying that if it moves just for one day, then it's going to be 50-50 again.
Can I just ask you about Usyk and his mindset through all of this? We've been watching his Twitter and Instagram replies to Tyson's video points that he's making. Where is Usyk's mentality with all of this? Is this a distraction at all, or does his target remain focused on Tyson Fury?
He's enjoying his training camp. He's working hard, 3 times per day training, reading Tyson's book, maybe the second one already. So he's like in the mental state of a warrior who is planning to defeat his opponent on April 29th. This is his mindset.
Would this be Oleksandr Usyk's greatest victory? Everybody doubted him coming up to heavyweight. Nobody really thought outside your inner team that he could beat someone like Anthony Joshua. He did that. I think there's a similar sort of narrative with this. Could he beat a bigger man in Tyson Fury? Would this be his greatest victory from your point of view?
Well, Andy, size never matter much. It's all about the skills. It's all about what you have here and here. Usyk is okay with both. So we expect him to become the historical person. We expect him to become the first ever undisputed champion in 2 weight divisions.
Just finally, the war in Ukraine, the conflict in Ukraine.
All right, we're going to leave that alone. Here's what Tyson Fury posted a couple hours ago. My usual training camp blackout will start tomorrow. I only came back on IG to make the fight, and it worked. I've been off IG since October 22nd. Came back and blah, 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 blah. He's just gotten sickening.
It's been over the last few days. Terrorising Usyk and his team. Tomorrow I'm going to knuckle down into training camp, and I'll be doing a blackout as I always do on social media. Nav will be running my Instagram account, keeping you all updated on my training progress and everything's going. April 29th is definitely a worker. I will see you all on the night. Tune in, or be there or be square. This is the biggest event in British boxing history. The fight of the century, 2 undefeated world heavyweight champions, throwing down to see who is the number 1 in the division. The undisputed world heavyweight championship on the line. Peace out. Good training to Usyk. May the best man win. Get up!
You know, do you believe? Because I'm having a hard time until I see a press conference. And remember, it's 6 weeks away. You know, till I see a press conference, I don't believe. You know, we're just going to have to wait and see. I do have Tyson Fury, though. You know, I think he's going to, I don't know how. I'm trying to picture in my head how Tyson Fury is going to be able to, or Usyk is going to be able to keep Tyson Fury from leaning on him. We saw that Usyk may do all that break dancing and all that shit, but he's got an engine just like everybody else. And he did slow down from those body shots. And I'm wondering, with Tyson Fury using all that weight to lean down on him, how's it going to work? And yes, it's supposed to be a 70-30 split. But according to the manager, Igor Klimas, and forgot this guy's name, Krosik, forgot the guy we was just listening to on Sky. He's formerly of K2, but now he's the promoter of Usyk. But basically, they're saying if the fight doesn't happen on April the 29th, then it's going to be back to 50-50. You know, so they're bending for the 70-30 split for it to happen on April the 29th. Now, in this day and age, it's very difficult for fighters to agree to a 70-30 split, especially when one of them has 3 of the belts and has made significant money in his last 2 fights against Anthony Joshua. You know, Usyk is definitely above $50 million made for both of those fights combined. I don't know how much above, but if I'm correct, he may have made somewhere along the lines of 50 million, right? I forgot the numbers. The numbers were released. and what Usyk and Joshua made for that second fight. I did a video on it and everything. I forgot what the numbers was. I think it was something, correct me if I'm wrong, go look it up yourself. I think it was something that Joshua got like 80 and Usyk got like 40 to 50 or something like that. So for Usyk to take that type of split, that really shows that he wants to fight. But Tyson Fury's a bullshitter. You see what I'm saying? He's got that reputation of being bullshitter now. You know, I mean, I don't, and I think it's because he talks too much, maybe. And that Derek Chisora third fight just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Because it's like, why? Really? Why? And me personally, I think that he wants that fight with Francis Ngannou, and he's been trying to push for that, you know, but I think something may have fell apart there, you know. But if it happens on April the 29th, I'll be shocked. And since it's 6 weeks away, we expect for them to have to do a press conference. So we will have to have that, you know, in the next week or so, because both of these fighters got to be in camp or are in camp now. And Tyson Fury just said a couple of hours ago that he's doing a blackout, that he's in camp. So that he's going to be even more of a bullshitter if the fight doesn't happen. But let's move on to the next topic. This weekend, I was handed a brutal amount of abuse. Damn it. When I say I was so disgusted, when I say I thought that they were better than this, when I say I was so disappointed in the Australian boxing fans, it's like they got their Easter, no, I don't want to, you know what I'm going to say it. It's like they got their Easter clothes or their new holiday clothes, and then they go to school the next day showing off. I was called all kinds of dogs. Oh, of course he's going to root for the brother man. Oh, look at him making excuses for Tony Harrison. They said that I said Tony Harrison broke his hand. I never said, I said Tony Harrison was injured. They just want you to be like Tszyu won. They don't want you to critically think at all. Let me troll. Because they let me have it, so I'm going to let them have it. So they started putting all these words in my mouth, and I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't say none of that. My job is to cover the fights and to give my opinion. If you don't like it, that's on you. So I was talking about how, you know, why Tony Harrison, and I was just asking questions. Me and my colleague Big Jill, who we're going to hear from soon, I'm just asking questions. I'm asking, like, you know, why wasn't Tony letting the right hand go? Was he injured? That's what I said. Was he? I didn't say he was. Or was he scared of the power? Was he scared of the power? I was asking the question. At the end of the day, Tszyu won, okay? He won. I cover hundreds of boxing events. I'm not going to always get them right. But I always find ways for boxers to win. That's it. That's all I wanted to say. But they was letting me have it. They was letting me have it. They was tearing my ass up. I woke up on Sunday morning and I'm scrolling and I'm like, oh. What he said? You know? I caught my girl down. It was that bad. And she was like, what's wrong? And she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, I just need a hug. She asked me what happened. I didn't tell her it was the Tszyu fans. I didn't tell her, you know, because, you know, she told me to stop putting my faith into people. And you got to look at them from all sides. You got to look at their true colors. But let's go back to fight night. I have my Showtime Anytime app open here. And we're going to listen to the post-fight interview from Tszyu and listen to what Jermell Charlo had to say after the fight. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
You have to remember that he wasn't in with Jermell Charlo. He was in with Tony Harrison, and there's a big difference. But you know what? This, I'm sure, proved to be a very significant fight for Tszyu's confidence. because to fight for all 4 championship belts, you need to be a confident fighter.
Just for a moment, have
Let's
a look
go
around,
into the ring. Here's Tszyu with Ben Damon.
Through the confetti. Not many people get a moment like this. What does it feel like?
Thank you, Australia! I got one sentence. What's my motherfucking name?
Oh, what's his name?
Is that what this was about? Is that to everyone, to Tony, to America, to all of the doubters that you belong?
No, man. This is what it's about. Every single one of you. That's what it's all about. Every single one that's ever purchased pay-per-view, that's ever come here, that just supports boxing in general. I did it for all of you, brothers and sisters.
There was a different mood to you, though, through the course of the build-up to this. We've talked about the Soul Taker before. The Soul Taker was well and
Did
truly
they have
hit
confetti
on.
and shit?
You know what? I was smart. I knew he had a jab, so I had to be smart about it. Because the competitor that I had in front of me, he's the man that beat the man. Which means I'll just beat the man who beat the man. What does that make me?
A word on this man, because he's won a lot of fans. He's been great in the build-up to this, but what was it like sharing the ring with him here today?
My pleasure, man. The respect is always there. We never bad-mouthed each other. We had a bit of banter, but we always had respect for each other, you know? And in this ring is where we proved to each other, you know? And tonight, I was the man that proved to him that I was a better man.
Now, Tim, there are lots of Americans watching. One of them is named Jermell Charlo. Do you have a message for him?
The message was sent clearly. You know what's up. You know what's next. I'm coming. I'm coming to America.
Congratulations on this, Tim. Perhaps the first of many. Any final words to everyone who's come out here today and who's watching around the world?
Australia, you know, but the world, you know now. What's my motherfucking name?
Tim.
Say my motherfucking name.
Timothy.
Tim Tszyu. And if we could have...
So before we listen to Tony and then listen to Jermell, Big J's going to be calling in about 8 minutes or so. Where do people keep getting that narrative from? I never shit on Tim Tszyu on the channel. Like, where'd that come from? You know, y'all just be making things up. Like, literally, I have the videos. You know, Takashi Inoue, Bowen Morgan, Stevie Spark beat down Jeff Horn. I'm sorry, it didn't move the needle for me. And I'm not the only one it didn't move the needle for. So for y'all to try to single me out, keep it up. I'm gonna claim racism. I'm gonna say y'all don't like the Mexican man's opinion. You know, I identify as Mexican. I'm gonna say because I'm Mexican, y'all not listening to me. Y'all always treating us like this. I never. And what is Tim Tszyu? Is he Asian? I mean, not Russian Asian, but you know, like, is he mixed with something else? You know, because people keep saying he a white man. I'm not even joking. They're saying he a white man.
To Tony Harrison, and a round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen, for the former world champion and a tough dude, Tony Harrison. Firstly, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm cool, man. I train hard.
Man got confetti all on his head and shit.
The better man won tonight, and you know.
Why they got the confetti? Somebody couldn't peel that shit off. Oh my God, that shit is like embedded to his head. They love flames and confetti over there in Australia. Confetti all celebratory, confetti all sticking to him.
The city is electric, the crowd was electric, and like I said, the better man won tonight.
Just a word on Tszyu, because you know global boxing better than anyone, and you've been to the very top of the tree, and it's been such a pleasure to have you here. But how good is Tszyu?
The better man won tonight. I ain't gonna, give my assessment on him. The better man won tonight. That's all I can say is the better man won tonight. He on the bigger and better things. And, I don't know where I go from here.
Wherever
Mongolian.
you go, we hope that you come back here sometime, because you're welcome anytime. Tony Harrison, you're a champion.
Thank y'all. Tim, congratulations, my boy.
Tony Harrison and the victorious Tszyu.
I mean, Tony's got a nice little career ahead of him in broadcast. I mean, in training. He's got Alicia Baumgartner, undisputed champion at 130 pounds. And she's got a bright future ahead of her. The other option is, a lot of people have been saying also, is moving to 160. How would he fare up there? But if you ask me, it looks like that passion is not really there. That's what it's looking like to me. And sounding like, he's got a big payday. He went out in a big event. That was a big event over there. So 11,400 or 700 they announced to be there. It was on pay-per-view. Peaked at about 170,000 or so here in the States on Showtime. Don't know how many streamed. Streamed on the Showtime Anytime app. Like, I watch on Showtime Anytime. But then again, I also have it on my TVs too. But I watch on Showtime Anytime because obviously I'm watching from my computer. But as far as Tszyu, this is the best he has looked. It's the best he's looked. So now, just like I've said before, every fighter has that fight that I say, and it's different for different people. For example, I'm going to ask you and also the people in the comments, what was the fight for you? What was the fight for you that made you say, okay, Tszyu is the goods? For me, it was Tony Harrison. I needed to see him beat Tony Harrison. And I'm a tough critic. I needed to see him to beat Tony Harrison for me to be like, okay, he's good. Now he has a better chance of beating Jermell Charlo. I'm not saying he will. I'm going to tell you right now. So you might as well just get ready, because if he does beat Jermell Charlo, I'm going to be ready for it. I'm going to be ready because y'all got me good. Y'all had me hurt. Australian boxing fans and Tszyu enthusiasts. Y'all had me hurt. But I'm going to be ready this time. So I'm telling you, I don't got him beating Jermell Charlo. I don't got him. I'm sorry. That's my right. So if y'all want to cyberbully me and all that shit, let me tell Big J to call in 3 minutes. Y'all want to cyberbully me and all that shit? I'm going to be ready. Australian boxing fans. I think Jermell Charlo is going to teach him a lesson. Jermell Charlo's battle tested. Tszyu beat Tony Harrison, who I was at ringside for Tszyu. Jermell Charlo, Tony Harrison won. And a lot of people thought Jermell Charlo got robbed. He was in the back crying and shit. And I got in trouble. I tell this story all the time, but I got in trouble with the Charlos. And the blood's been like, I've finalized a very delicate truce, I believe, with Jermell Charlo. But it was some bad blood. It was some bad blood. It was at I was at Charlo versus Matvey Korobov and Charlo versus Tony Harrison, PBC on Fox. And I asked a question and it started some shit that I didn't even want to start, but I think we're cool now, so. But either way, it's not biased. I got Jermell Charlo. He's just battle tested, man. He's just battle tested. The question is, will Charlo fight Bakhram Murtazaliev as IBF mandatory to get that out of the way next? Because we're hearing that Jermell Charlo is going to return in around June or so, June or July. So it's not going to be a quick turnaround for Tszyu. I think that realistically, Charlo versus Tszyu is going to happen in October, November, December. That's what I'm thinking in Vegas. That's what I'm thinking. And now it's a bigger fight. More fans will hopefully travel. Maybe they can finally get Costa out of wherever the hell he's been. I don't know. That's not my business, but I'm just saying it makes you be like, damn, why his pop don't be at his fights? I'm just saying, But it's like, damn, you know, but when they were supposed to originally fought, he was supposed to be there, I think, you know. Yeah, I know they're going to turn on me. I'm going to be ready, though. I'm going to be ready for the Tszyu fans. I'm going to be ready. You know, they got me good. They got me good. But one thing I don't play around with is, let me get that message out there now. You know, it takes a lot for you to get banned or, you know, timed out on this channel, at least by me. I can take a lot of shit. But once you start like doing like just blatantly outrageous, like weirdo racist shit, then it's like, okay, I'm a block you. But then I block people. And then I would say every 3 to 4 months, I unblock everybody. Like my block list, I don't believe in that. I believe in free speech, you know? I don't believe in all that crap. And a lot of times I be trolling, so I really don't be bothered. Let's hear what Big J has to say. Yeah, what's going on? Real quick, can you hear me?
Showtime.
Hold on. Can you hear me? Hold on. I gotta hold on. Just headphones. Give me 1 minute. Not even 1 minute. Hang in there. My earbuds be fucking up. All right, Big J, can you hear me? Hold on. Can you hear me? Yeah. We're live, so let's talk about the fight. What did you think? Since we're live, we get a chance to talk about what's been happening.
Well, obviously a brilliant, dominant performance by Tszyu. I mean, did Tony Harrison just rock up for the final paycheck? Probably, but I don't want to hear that sort of shit because everyone thought that Tony Harrison was going to beat the shit out of Tszyu and send him home, you know, without his shot at Charlo. So, I mean, you know, for people to say, okay, well, you know, and we did talk about the other day that, you know, that the matchmakers for Tszyu are very strategic because they picked the best opponent they could get, but at the most vulnerable point. 2 fights in 3 years, and the first one was a gift draw. He only had 7 weeks' notice to get the fight, so yeah. But then again, Tony Harrison's a professional at the top at the top level, so you know you should always be ready for a fight. So it doesn't matter how much notice you've got. It's not exactly like Tony Harrison didn't know about this fight. It wasn't a surprise. We've been expecting this for 18 months.
Yeah.
So for people to say that if Tony didn't take it seriously, that's on him. If he just cashed out for one final paycheck, that's on him. You can't go blaming Tszyu for that. So, you know, so all these people that say, oh, Tony bloody threw the fight or just had an easy paycheck and all this other horse shit, it's like, so that's on Tony. Who gives a shit? Tszyu beat the shit out of him. That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
So,
but now, I said that Tszyu is now, in my opinion, the third best 154 pounder. I have Tszyu. I have Jermell. In my opinion, I have Jermell. I have Brian Castano, and then I have Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora. Who's your top guys?
Same as you, but isn't Castano going to 160? So that would eliminate.
Yeah, nah, but right now he's still technically at 154.
Okay, well, fair enough. Yeah. Well, remember what I said to you the other day. If this was Street Fighter, the game, the original game, the guys at 35 and older will know, Tszyu just beat Belrock, which is ironic because he was the boxer. He's still got to beat Vega and Saget to get the Bison, and Charlo's then Bison.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a pretty fair. I mean, yes, he did beat Tony Harrison, but Tony Harrison was not really considered a top tier, like absolute top of the pinnacle at 154. He's certainly up there. He's certainly top 4 or 5, but he's not number 1.
Yeah.
And I think most people would agree with that.
So the question is now, and what have you been hearing? I'm predicting that Jermell Charlo is going to fight Murtazaliev sometime in maybe June or July, and then Tim and him are not going to fight until later on in the year.
I'm hearing exactly the same thing. Charlo's fighting in June or July, but it has been yet to be confirmed who that is. I mean, I haven't heard anything of a date of when Charlo is going to fight Tszyu, but you have to think that how is Murtazaliev going to jump the queue when the contracts and the dates and all that was already signed for Tszyu?
Yeah, but the contract don't have anything to do with the sanctioning bodies. That's the issue. The sanctioning.
So would the IBF go, nah, fuck this bullshit, we've waited long enough?
Yeah, they can, because it's happened to Tyson Fury. That's why he dropped his IBF after Carl Froch. They tried to do it to him with the George Groves fight, and Tyson Fury dropped his IBF at one point in time too, because he had that rematch with Klitschko, but the IBF was like, look, your contract don't have nothing to do with our sanctioning body. And Bakhram Murtazaliev has been waiting so long. It's hard to, see the IBF letting him go another one. I mean, how many step-asides has it been? It's been about 3, right?
Three step-asides, all dark matches on Charlo fights. No, actually, the last one was a dark match on the Tszyu fight. Tszyu Goucher fight. Wasn't he a dark match on that?
Yeah, he was. And so you can't, you have to imagine that the IBF is going to be like, all right, look, you're holding up the division, get him out of the way first. It all makes sense for me.
I agree, because the one thing that I don't want, and I don't think Charlo would honestly give a shit, but I know Tim Tszyu wouldn't, is that if that fight's not for undisputed, it sort of dampens it a bit. It's like, it's not for undisputed. He hasn't got all the belts. Because the IBF stripped his ass, of course, hypothetically, the IBF stripped his ass because he wouldn't fight old mate, Bakhram Murtazaliev. So if that does happen, the interest in the fight will sort of, it's not for undisputed now.
And looking at it, I'm trying to figure out, was it 2019 when he became the IBF mandatory against Jorge?
It was, because Bakhram Murtazaliev has been the IBF mandatory since Jason Rosario was champion.
Yeah.
So he's been waiting a very long time.
He's been IBF mandatory for 5 fights and 4 years, 3 years, 5 fights, 3+ years. Crazy. So it makes sense for Charlo to fight him, even though fans may not want it, but for it to be for undisputed and for him not to get stripped, that all makes sense. So how do you see the fight going? Go ahead.
It's the same situation with Canelo and John Ryder. No one wants that fight, but stiff shit, it's a mandatory.
Yeah, he's got to keep that belt.
Exactly. How do I see it going? If Charlo's at his absolute best, he'll punch the shit out of Tim Tszyu, but if he fucks around, he'll find out, and Timmy will get him, because Tim's not going to take this lightly.
Yeah.
The only way Charlo will lose is if he doesn't take it seriously. If he's full on board, on par, Tim is going to be in for an extremely rough night. But if he mucks around, if he doesn't take it seriously, if he thinks that Tim Tszyu, as he calls him, is just a pushover, he's going to be sorely mistaken, because Charlo can be beat, and he has been beat. At least once. You have to argue that Castagna got him in that first fight. So, but, Charlo can adjust. But it's like every fight. If you take your opponent lightly, which has happened more than once in boxing, hence Pacquiao versus Horn, Tim will get him. So, but if he rocks up, he's on par, he's simply at his best, I can't see Tim getting past him, unfortunately. I mean, even though I picked him to beat Tony Harrison, Harrison's not Charlo. So anyone out there think, as I said, he's beat Balrog. Balrog's not Bison. He's, still got a couple of more levels before he gets to that Charlo level. So, and I'd probably argue he probably needs another fight. But then again, who would he fight?
Yeah, well, for Tszyu, it makes no sense. He might as well. He took that risk with Tony Harrison and it worked out. Don't go to the well too much. Wait for your shot, and he'll still be able to get 2 fights in this year. And wait for your shot against Charlo. Let him get that mandatory out of the way, because then for Tim Tszyu, if he does beat Charlo, then he has a little bit more freedom, because the next mandatory would be the WBC, and that would be Fedor, who I think he can beat. So, if you're looking at the political game of it, it's in his best interest for Tim to let Charlo fight Murtazaliev, because at the end of the day, Murtazaliev can sue the IBF, just like Joe White did.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm surprised that the IBF has allowed this to go on for so long.
I know, that's a long time, especially for such a strict organization with the IBF. So that's why I feel confident that Murtazaliev has to be next, because, you can't just keep having them let this fighter's not just holding up his career, but he's holding up the other fighters that are seeking that IBF shot, the other fighters in that sanctioning body's top 15.
No, that's right. I mean, who's there? Who's in the IBF top 15 at the moment? I know Tim's not here, be out of the rankings now.
Nobody of real note. Charles Conwell, Liam Smith, but they, nobody of real note, that would really likely push. You've got Austin Trout ranked at number 8 by the IBF.
Austin Trout, bloody hell, he's still going. What is he, like 45 now?
Nah, he ain't that old. He just been around for a while, but he's not that old. But all right, Big J, we got to get up out of here. Closing thoughts. Austin Trout's only 37. Closing thoughts?
No, I just hope Tim's going to win. Are we quickly going to give a drop to what's going on with George and Zarafa?
Nah, well, I guess, Mixed Rafa is supposed to be fighting. Well, Mixed Rafa, you go ahead and explain what's going on with Mixed Rafa.
Okay, well, Mixed Rafa, the WBA has ordered Mixed Rafa and Inez Larry Lara to come to agreement by April 13 for the WBA middleweight title. I thought he was supposed to be fighting Screwed Falco for the IBF vacant title, but apparently that's changed.
No, it hasn't changed. That purse bid is supposed to be coming up for that as well, so he can go either way.
It has been confirmed. It will be in Australia. George Kambosos Jr. will fight Maxi Hughes for the IBO lightweight title. Not sure when it'll happen or where, but I'm gathering probably May, June, in Sydney sometime.
So it's a good fight for it has been, George coming back.
It is a good fight. It is a good fight. It'll get that IBO strap around his waist. It'll get him a good ranking with the IBF. And he'll probably be gunning after possibly the loser of Haney. If Haney loses, I don't think he'll fight him for a third time. But if Lomachenko does, he'll probably go after him because that would be another massive fight.
Yeah, definitely. And I still don't think he's big enough for 140 pounds. At least this crop of 140 pounders. He'll run.
No, he ain't going to 140.
But
he ain't going to 140. I asked him flat out last time I saw him. You going to 140? He went, nah.
Yeah, but all right, Jay,
he ain't going.
We'll catch you later. Short on time. You can follow me at on Twitter at Old Mate Big J. In fact, I believe the link to his social media is down below in the description box. So let's talk about the other fights that's coming on this week. If you didn't get a chance to see, Tony Yoka lost to Carlos Takam, losing 2 straight fights. Now fights that he was supposed to win against Martin Bakole and then the Carlos Takam. And it made you think, or at least when I was watching the card, I was thinking to myself, like, yo, if he was to run into Derek Chisora would end him, like, for real. I don't know if it's a trainer thing, if he just doesn't have the power. And remember, he got popped for PEDs a few years back. But he doesn't look like he's cut out for boxing. Like heavyweight boxing. I mean, is it the trainer? Because he's trained by Virgil Hunter. Maybe a change in trainer, but at his age, he don't need to take a layoff, and he's still young. In this day and age in boxing, 30 is not old. He can reset, but he's got to go all the way back and reset. And I think it's time for a trainer change, if I'm being honest. It may be time for a trainer change. I don't know how close him and Virgil Hunter is. Former trainer of Andre Berto. Andre Ward, but I don't know. But he lost to Carlos Takam. It's going to be interesting to see what he does next. Chisora versus Takam would be a fun fight. Diego Pacheco headlined against Jack Cullen in a next-gen type of showbox type of card. It's time for Diego Pacheco to step up. He dropped Jack Cullen with a mean body shot. Robbie Davies broke his ankle. I can't show you the clip because they'll take the video down. But he got his ankle. He stepped back on his ankle and it just completely snapped. You can find that on Twitter if you want to go, look at that. Liam Paro of Australia was supposed to be fighting Robbie Davies. Campbell Hatton, as you can see, this is the best way I could have worded it when I typed this up early this morning. Campbell Hatton win inches him closer to brutal KO. One day, somebody's going to knock Campbell Hatton's head off. Certain fighters, I don't know right now. From what I'm seeing right now, there's room for improvement. But what I'm seeing right now is Campbell Hatton don't got it. He don't got it. Gilberto Ramirez is taking on Gabriel Rosado this weekend on the Zone. Enough said about that. Jojo Diaz is supposed to be on the card against Masito Gesta. Jojo Diaz was booked for child endangerment. I don't know if he's still on the card or not. In fact, let me check because they did release the full card. I didn't get a chance to upload it or publish it to the website, but let me check real quick. Pat Manuel is returning. We covered Pat Manuel on the channel. The first transgender boxer is back this weekend. No bullshit. Says undercard is finalized. Zurdo Ramirez taking on Rosado. Jojo Diaz is on the card taking on Masito Gesta. Oscar Duarte taking on Alex Martin. Pat Manuel taking on Hien Hun. Yeah, first transgender boxer. Also, in another interesting fight, for the real low-down degenerates, you got Gerald Big Baby Miller taking on Big Daddy Lucas Brown. Both have failed drug tests in the past. Both nice guys and everything, but at the end of the day, you failed drug tests. So this is going to be a fun one. Somebody's going to get knocked the fuck out. I can't believe that Lucas Brown almost got a chance to fight Daniel Dubois, and the sanctioning body said, nah, that ain't happening. You might hurt Lucas Brown, but then you got this mess. That's going to be this weekend over in, is that in Dubai or Abu Dhabi? Dubai. I don't know what network, if it's going to be, let's see. Let me see if it's going to be on, it is going to be streamed on ProBox. I pay for ProBox every month. Look, here's the press release. I'm gonna publish it to FightView360 later on tonight. Oh, okay, so we get to watch that. ProBox is like $2 a month. I have ProBox. So Miller versus Lucas Brown is going to be on ProBox TV. John O'Carroll's on the card as well. It's going to be a fun weekend. What else do we got here? Did we get a chance to listen to Jermell? What do you have to say about Tszyu? Let's go jump into this real quick. Let's see what he had to say.
Studios, we just saw Tszyu stop Tony Harrison there in the 9th round. Besides,
when I get my hand right and we get back in the ring for some more training, put him back in. That's that work.
did you see anything different out of Tszyu than what you were training for?
No, this is exactly what we've seen. Mm-hmm. Come forward, not as fast and bigger pace. Mm-hmm. Strong, of course, throw hard punches. Don't we all? You know, like, but I'm a different animal in there. Like, I'm a different fighter than Tony. You can't compare me and try to compare Tony's skills of boxing. He did move less than what he normally does, but
obviously because the ring was smaller.
Correct, the ring was smaller, but you know that still doesn't, you know, he didn't dog it out. He didn't bring that dog in him. If he wanted to fight me, he would have to bring more dog in him. But Tim is next, and that's what we had before the injury. So it's not like I'm not prepared already.
Right. Absolutely.
You know? So
interesting. Tell me what you saw.
Well.
Yeah, once again, I have Charlo beating Tszyu. What else? Me and Big J, we already talked about Erislandy Lara versus Michael Zarafa Oda, but I think we're going to get Erislandy Lara versus Danny Garcia, because Danny Garcia, if you haven't heard, he's ranked. Danny Garcia is ranked by the WBA at 160 pounds. I forgot where I read it. I don't know if it was Copinger or if it was on Boxing Scene. But Danny Garcia versus Erislandy Lara will take place at 160 for the full 160-pound title, because Golovkin doesn't have it anymore. There's Danny Garcia at 155. Terry Harper and Cecilia Brakus are going to be fighting as the co-feature or chief support to Katie Taylor versus Chantel Cameroon. Remember, Amanda Serrano's been injured. And the top-ranked boxing schedule, let's go look at that. Because they've been, you know, they got some good fights on the horizon, but they've been kind of silent, you know. Let's talk about this top-ranked schedule. By the way, they're broadcasting this Jean Pascal fight this week, Thursday, actually. Their next fight is going to be the same day as Caleb Plant, David Benavidez. That All Access episode was on this weekend, Friday night. I rated like a 7 out of 10. Introductory episode. Didn't really learn anything. It's more for the casuals, not for the hardcores. You know, a bunch of stuff we already knew, so it is what it is. Jose Ramirez versus Richard Comey. Don't like this fight because Jose Ramirez denied this fight with Brown losing. Eli Sekbak said it wasn't happening. Sanesa Super Bad Estrada is on this fight, on this card. How would you rate this card? This is a C card to me. That's a C card. That's ESPN. That's their March the 25th card. Their April the 1st card has been somewhat cursed. Rabisa Ramirez versus Isaac Dogboe. Xander Zayas was supposed to be on this joint, and Richard Torres, I believe, also. Or I believe Torres will be on the Shakur Stevenson card. Joet Gonzalez is on this joint. I like the main event. I really like this main event. But all the other fights, I really could care less about. It's a showcase fight card, but I really like this main event. It's exciting, though. It's not bad. And one thing you can always love about ESPN cards is they show the full cards from top to bottom. And you get a lot of nice little boxing nuggets, like in between, like with their, sometimes they can overdo it with their, build up content and some of the dead times, but you get a lot of content in an ESPN show. Let's see, their next one is April the 8th, right? With Shakur Stevenson, homecoming in Newark. Gerald Anderson versus George Arias. Keyshawn Davis, Anthony, can you dig it, yig it? Bruce Carrington, Shushu returns. Duke Reagan returns. Kelvin Davis. See, they got a lot of prospects. A lot of nice prospects. And that's been the reputation of Top Rank. They have the prospects, and the prospects get to a certain level, and then they leave and go somewhere else. But it's always well known and said that Top Rank is the best with keeping their young prospects active and building them up. But this is a C-level card. You see what I'm saying? So far, we're at an average of like a B- for their card so far between March and April. What's their next flagship card? I'm talking about like a stateside ESPN, not the cards that they pick up from overseas. What's their next flagship joint? Nothing. The Stephen Fulton and Noye, but that's picked up from overseas. I mean, the ESPN schedule and the Top Rank on the ESPN schedule is two different things. I'm looking at like the ESPN stateside cards. And then look, the next one is not until May the 20th between Devin Haney and Lomachenko, and that's going to be on pay-per-view, and Oscar Valdez, who's returning in a tune-up, stay busy fight after an injury and tune-up for a potential Emmanuel Navarrete fight. So right now, you can say whatever you want, including myself, about the PBC schedule and the DAZN schedule, but the Top Rank stateside ESPN schedule is like, well, they got to pick it up. They got to pick it up. Let's see, what's the final topic? That was it. So this week I am going to be covering these fights. You can expect post-fight content for the Gilberto Ramirez Rosado card. Joe Big Baby Miller versus Lucas Brown. That's degenerate shit. I'm going to cover that. UFC 286 is this week, and I'm definitely covering that. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I'm going to go have some dinner, take my dog for a walk. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT CONTROVERSY and the FightView360 Boxing Podcast. Available on all of your listening platforms and FightView360.com. Our rankings are updated in accordance to sanctioning bodies, and we're going to be doing our weekly podcast on Tuesdays, and members are going to be coming soon.